Hey, how you doing, everyone? And welcome back to another episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X.
Your boy Ish.
All right, we appreciate everyone as always tuning in. And if you are tuning in on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast so more people can tune in to X Talking Ish. If you are on Twitter, please make sure you check us out on X underscore Williams81 on Twitter. And if you are on YouTube, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. On YouTube, of course, X Talking Ish. And make sure you hit the notification bell for future videos.
Ding.
Thank you for that, Ish. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
All righty then. I know I'm not gonna lie, Ish. I don't know how you feel, but I know everybody's probably draft out and probably tired of talking about the draft. It seems like we talked about the draft for the last 4 or 5 episodes, but
Man.
we are finally wrapping up this 2021 NFL draft bonanza. The first one back since COVID. The first one to have fans again in the whole structure of the draft. So that was nice to see. It was nice to see it in Cleveland, the birthplace of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Be able to have the dog pound there, be able to have real Cleveland fans there to support their Brownies. You know, these guys are coming off of a playoff win against their arch rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, hey, they are excited. They are hyped going into this upcoming season. So I think it was a great city to be able to pick for this year NFL draft. Now, I don't know if anybody knows, but next year we do have it. It will be in Las Vegas.
In Vegas,
It
baby.
will be in Vegas. So who knows? Tune in. You might be able to see us in Vegas for that one. Because I don't know about you, Ish. Hopefully, this quarantine. I mean, there's pandemic stuff. It'll be cleared up a little bit. Hopefully, we'll
Man.
be live for that one.
Woo. That would be pretty nice. That would be pretty nice.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. A man can dream, can't he?
Man, he can.
All right. So, with that being said, we're not going to talk too much about the NFL draft. We're just going to go ahead and wrap it up pretty quickly. And we're going to talk about a couple of other topics for the night. And we'll go ahead and get it started with the 2021 NFL draft winners and losers. I had a couple of winners and losers. It's just kept it simple and just said, hey, just one and done for me. Not
One
going to
and
go
done.
into too much details on these on the teams that should have been winners and losers, and I respect that ish. But before we do that, was there a surprising pick for you? And we'll just keep it in the first round. Was there a surprising pick that a team made that you were just, whoa, I wasn't expecting
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, if you tune into our draft episode, I think even then I was like, "Whoa!" Definitely wasn't expecting that. Leatherwood. When Las Vegas went with Leatherwood, I thought I had a couple of tackles before him. So when he went off the board, um, it was weird to me. I was kind of speechless. I didn't really know what to say because, like I said, I had a couple tackles before him. I mean, yeah, he's a solid tackle, but I thought that he was solidly placed in the second round. I didn't expect him to go in the first round. So that was a definite surprise for me.
See, that was bait. I baited you into that. I was expecting you to say that, but I was
Mm-hmm.
expecting you to say something else.
Mm.
And the easiest one is easy. Of course, the Chicago Bears
Oh,
taking Justin Fields. It has to be that one just
oh no,
because,
no, that's not a surprise.
surprising to me
Mm-hmm.
because not just with the Chicago Bears wanting Justin Fields, but also the ramifications of the Chicago Bears taking Justin Fields because the Minnesota Vikings reports came out that they were
Mm.
going to get Justin Fields at pick number
Yeah, that was a big one.
14.
That was a big one.
And let's just because like you said, is we talked about this in a couple of shows previous, and I said let's figure out and see what happens to guys like Kellen Munn, Kyle Trash.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with a guy like Kellen Munn because I think he will get the opportunity to be able to start in Minnesota. if Kirk Cousins is not able to be Captain America,
Well, I like
and
that you just said that
I'm
because
listening.
RG3 recently had an interview and came out with some spicy comments about Kirk Cousins in Minnesota.
Oh, what did he say? I did not hear about
I
this.
mean, my man basically came out and said that, you know, Kirk Cousins, Kellen Mond is everything that Kirk Cousins is not. And he's probably what that coaching staff is looking for. And if Kirk Cousins gets off to a slow start like he did last year, Kellen Mond could be coming in. And I mean, he went on to say that Kirk's been collecting checks in Minnesota and he's got to step up. I mean, y'all can go look the research, go do your research, look up the interview on your own. But RD3 had some very interesting conversations, which, it led people to question, is there still some bad blood there after what happened in Washington between the two?
Could be.
I don't know, but yeah, it was interesting to hear because you normally don't hear ex teammates like really comment about stuff like that. But yeah, RG3 came out, he made some comments about it.
And I didn't even hear about that. But let's be real. When it comes to Captain Kirk, we all know what we're getting out of Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
It's not like RG3 is out here saying.
He didn't say anything that anybody didn't already know, right?
So and then people can chalk it up to saying, hey, he might be a little salty what happened in Washington. I can understand that, but we see what we see on film, and Kirk Cousins at the moment is not getting it done for $100 million quarterback.
Oh no, not at all, not at all.
Okay,
I would argue that he hasn't been doing it for a while.
So with that being said, will Kellen Mond be the guy to be able to put a little pressure to either Kirk Cousins to either shine like a diamond or burst? And this season, I think, when we get into the upcoming season, of course, we're going to talk about, guys that need to prove it. And Kirk Cousins is at least top 3, if not top 2 for me, because if he doesn't show up, he might just be a guy for a team that just wants to be mediocre moving forward and not trying to be competitive. Because Minnesota, I think, was the team that was trying to give him the opportunity, and is not really panning out as well at the moment. So
there's something to be said about the conversation of where Minnesota was when they got Kirk Cousins and where they are now, right? I would argue that when Kirk Cousins went, there was a lot of talk about Minnesota potentially competing for an NFC Championship game. Remember, Teddy Bridgewater had taken them, to the playoffs, I think the year before, and they did really well. And then, he had the knee injury, which then led them to try to figure out, oh, no. That was 2 years before that Teddy Bridgewater took them. And then Christian Ponder stepped in, and he played pretty well. He played pretty well and got them. They did really well with Christian Ponder, and then Kirk Cousins came the next year. Is when they signed him. Mm-hmm. So you could argue that they were hoping to sign Kirk Cousins and continue that upward momentum, and instead they have actually declined since Kirk Cousins has taken over.
I agree, and I appreciate Chad Bogues for tuning in. He's a LSU fan, and I was just going to get to Mr. Jordan Jefferson. If it was for Jordan Jefferson being in there his rookie year, contributing the way he did, who knows? Maybe Kirk Cousins wouldn't have.
He would have been dead in the water.
I was gonna say he wouldn't even had a decent year that he did this past year. So it's gonna be very interesting to see. Shout out to KC, my boy from Just Another Football Show. He said a lot of money left on Kirk's deal. This is very true, and I mean, it'd be very surprising if anybody tries to take that contract off of him, because what team really wants that dead money? Right?
No, I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a situation with Carolina and Teddy Bridgewater where you got to restructure that, and then you're probably going to pay some of that money. Like, you're going to have to figure something out where you eat some of that in order to get him somewhere else.
I agree. I definitely agree. All right, let's go ahead and get into the draft winners and losers. Up top will be my winners, and on the bottom will be Ish's winner for the draft. And Ish, we'll go ahead and start off with you, with your winner of the draft.
Oh, yeah. My winner is none other than the team that was hosting the draft, the Cleveland Browns. I mean, What can I say? This team was already pretty hot on the offensive side of the ball, right? I didn't think they really needed to address anything on the offensive side of the ball. Last year, my complaint, if anybody was watching, I was high on the Browns. I talked about their 1-2 punch in the backfield. I talked about, if Baker Mayfield can do what he needs to do, that they can play really well. And I talked about how great that defensive line was. They addressed the defensive line during free agency. They brought in Jadeveon Clowney. I thought that they needed to bring in another edge rusher, which we could talk about that one. But the biggest need for them to me was secondary. I thought like you had Denzel Ward, but you didn't have any much else around him, right? So what did the Browns do? They come out in round 1 and they draft Greg Newsome II, a dog who is going to slot in across from Denzel Ward. And I mean, that secondary already hands down is looking very nice with those two guys at your starting corners. Then you get what some people may say is the steal of the draft with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah dropping to the second round.
Ooh.
And somehow he gets all the way to the Browns. You got a guy now that is multi-dimensional, a big threat. We saw what my guy did in Arizona last year. You got a guy now that you can move around. He can be a hybrid linebacker, a safety in the box. I mean, he can do so many things. And you put him in the Browns. Those 2 picks alone, for me, I was already like, yeah, the Browns, this is going to be a very interesting season for the Browns. We're going to have to start talking about, is there pressure on the Browns possibly competing for the AFC North? Are they the favorite going into the season to win the AFC North? That is a discussion that needs to be had because they follow up with Anthony Schwartz, which, some people may say OBJ, he's coming back, but we still don't know what that's going to look like. And also they played better when he was gone. So I still don't hold out a possibility of OBJ not being with Cleveland. But if he is, you add Anthony Schwartz, which is a great receiver. You bring in James Hudson, a tackle. You bring in defensive tackle and Tommy to guy. I mean, these guys really address needs, and they strengthen the parts that needed to be strengthened on an already really good team. I definitely think that if Baker Mayfield can reproduce what he had last year, if that offense can continue in the path that they're going, the defense was already great, and you've added 2 really solid pieces in the first 2 rounds. The Browns definitely, for me, going into the season, I have to say it. They are my AFC North favorite.
Woo! You heard it here first on X Talking Ish. My boy Ish said a mouthful with the Browns, all on board on the Browns train.
I'm all on
2021 going into the NFL 2021-2022 season. Ish. Ooh. You for real on these brownies, huh?
I'm for real. Last year, I told you I was hyping them up. Last year, I was telling you that run game is something different. Correct. Baker Mayfield just needed to do his end on the passing game, and they were going to be special. That defensive line is special. Then when they added these 2 guys, I'm not gonna lie. In the draft, I almost texted you after the second round. Once they got Jeremiah, I was like, "Whoa!" Like that one for me.
You had him going in the first round too.
Yeah, I did have him going in the first round. So, when they got him in the second round and they also had Greg Newsome, man, that really my eyes, I was like, the Browns? I mean, some people may talk like you have the Ravens as a winner here, which I'm interested to see why you think they're a winner. Yes. I still think they have the same question marks though going in. Like, yes, they have added receiver Sammy Watkins, they added Bateman, but my question is still, is Lamar going to get them the ball? Like, they could definitely be the winner.
But we're talking about drafting. We're not talking about just Lamar Jackson. So those are 2 different things.
Okay.
I understand completely where you're coming from. We'll just touch on my winners for a quick little second. To be honest with you, I don't need to even talk about my winners the way you broke down the Browns, man. Shit, the way Cleveland came out. They came out rocking and rolling with the draft and with the correct picks of the draft. They did not disappoint at all, I should say. Alrighty then. The reason why I threw out the Dolphins, the Chargers, and the Ravens, mainly because, yes, besides them addressing needs at certain positions, for me, I looked at also they beefed up their line. and moving forward. And no matter if you are trying to get into the playoffs, if you're trying to take the next step, or you're trying to make it to the Super Bowl, you have to have an offensive line. We haven't just seen it with the Kansas City Chiefs. We've seen it with teams prior to them. Unfortunately, not having a offensive line or even a dominant defensive line to help them win games, correct? Okay, so with that being said, I feel like the Dolphins, they did what they needed to do, being able to add, of course, Jalen Waddle and and Jalen Phillips when it comes to the defense side of the ball. Crazy story when it comes to Jalen Phillips going from UCLA to Miami. Not wanting to play football anymore, and then coming back being a first round pick. I thought that was a very interesting story from him. And of course, being up the line, offensive tackle from Notre Dame to help out Tua. Now, the thing, of course, with the Miami Dolphins, and not just the Dolphins, but the team I will also add in there would be the Cleveland Browns. We'll talk about them in a couple of segments coming up shortly when it comes to some of these teams might be in trade talks. We just have to wait and see because we don't know if the Dolphins are still all in on Tua. Yes, they tanked for Tua last year, but at the moment, it's 2 years ago, I apologize. But at the moment, is Tua really the guy for Miami just yet? To me, it doesn't seem like they're all in on him just yet. Because,
I was going to argue with you real quick.
If it was me, if I'm Miami, and I might be wrong, I would have gotten Devonte Smith. Again, Heisman Trophy winner, a guy that I would think maybe more connected with Tua. And maybe I'm wrong because there was an interview that came out when it comes to Jalen Waddle that said he would take Mac Jones over Tua. So it's one of those things where I'm not saying that they don't like each other. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the connection wise would have been better to have Devontae than Jalen ish.
Well, I did have Devontae slotted in to the Dolphins in my mock draft.
We both did.
Because that's just who I saw. But I was not mad when this pick came in because, like I said at the time, the most electrifying guy in the draft with the ball in his hands, Jalen Waddle. And I thought, like, hey, that's a really good pick. That's a big pick for them. You get a home run hitter, you get a kick returner, a punt returner. And I think like a lot of people, like it was said a lot during the draft, a lot of people are looking at these smaller, faster wide receivers after seeing what Tyreek Hill is able to do in Kansas City, and they want the next Tyreek Hill. The problem is, like the Raiders learned last year, there is a lot that goes into having the production that Tyreek Hill gives the Kansas City Chiefs.
I mean, even like a guy like Hollywood Brown, they try to make him seem like he's Tyreek Hill, and he's not.
And that's what I was saying. I would argue some of what Tyreek is able to do comes from the system that Andy Reid has in place in Kansas City in the ways he finds to get Tyreek the ball. Not to say that other coordinators can't do the same, but no one has been able to replicate it yet. You have a lot of guys that have come in the draft that you said, oh, he's fast like Tyreek. Oh, he can do this. I mean, I would argue even the Chiefs themselves went and got Mecole Hardman, who to me has been very disappointing since he has joined the team. I had high expectations for him. This year, we're going to see. With Sammy Watkins gone, he's going to have to step up and make some things happen. But a lot of these guys that have come after Tyreek Hill, they have not been able to replicate that. So Jalen Waddle, he has the potential to do it. Will they be able to find ways to get him involved and make him the kind of guy that needs to be that he needs to be in Miami's offense? I don't know. But what I will say about this in the Tua situation, I would argue that there are talks about the Desean Watson situation. What's going to happen? When is it going to get resolved? I would not be surprised if it gets resolved and he ends up in Miami and Tua ends up in Houston. To me, that's the one place where they're still not completely sold, and they would still be interested in making that trade. I don't know very many other places like San Francisco.
Reports recently said that Carolina was all in on Deshaun right before all the news came out.
But they got Sam Darnold now.
That was before, again, like I said, before they got Sam Darnold. But I'm just saying Carolina was all in at one point in time. And they just had to go ahead and move forward with their quarterback to make sure that they had a quarterback moving into the 2021 season. And when that's understandable because the decision is still up for Desean Watson on if he's even going to be able to play this season, and we're of course waiting for more information for that before we discuss what we wanted to discuss on the Desean Watson situation. But let me finish up with these winners, and then we'll go ahead and move on with the losers
do
of
your winners
of the draft. And KC also says Hollywood could be like Hill if he had a Kelsey or wait for it, Watkins.
I'm happy you said that, Casey, because I think that this is a big year for Hollywood Brown. I think with them bring Watkins in, with the tight ends that they have in Baltimore, Hollywood, the stage is set. Also, Lamar, the stage is set because Lamar, part of it is Lamar getting him the ball, but that's a story for a different day.
Another story for a different day. All right, so team like the Ravens, like we talked about, besides getting Bateman from Minnesota, you also get Wallace from Oklahoma State. You get cornerback Sean Wade from Ohio State. You also get another athletic free from Penn State, Jason Owen, and you beef up that line with Ben Cleveland from Georgia. Again, I feel like it's a solid draft because you're able to get solid pieces all around to fit what you need to fit, and it seems like, of course, besides running the ball, that's what they're going to do. It seems like they're going to try to throw the ball a little more this season. So, like you said, Ish, it's up to Lamar MVP Jackson to take the next step, to do what Josh Allen did last season and show everybody that you could be accurate with the ball. Show everybody that you could be consistently accurate downfield throwing the ball, because that's the only way that you'll be able to become Michael Vick 2.0. Because right now you're little Tykes Michael Vick. I'm being so serious.
He's the Friday Night Tykes Michael Vick.
Look, pretty much. That's great. There you go. Nothing bad. You nice. You nice when you playing against the kids, but when it's grown man time, I'm just saying, Vic can sling that thing. But when it was time to show up, it was. I'm just saying. So with that being said, this is for Lamar to take next step. Anyways, moving forward to the LA Chargers. The reason why I think the Chargers had a pretty damn good draft is because of what they were able to get with the picks that they were able to make. So you get, of course, an offensive lineman to help with Mr. Herbert back there.
Yes, sir.
And you get one of the better offensive linemen, Rashawn Slater from Northwestern. And you also get Asante Samuel Jr.
That was a big pick.
And for them to be able to get him for where he dropped at, because he easily could have been a first or an early second-round pick. For him to go number 47, I thought that was a great value pick for the Chargers. And being able to get a wide receiver out of Tennessee, Josh Palmer, and a tight end, Trey McKinney, out of Georgia, was very good pickups, again, to help out Mr. Herbert. But also, moving forward, it seems like the Chargers, besides them being all in, it just seems like they are focused on building for the now and for the future. And I respect what the Chargers are doing. I'm excited to see what they have going on in LA. And let's see what we're going to get from Asante Samuel Jr. Are we going to see him look like his father, jumping some routes for some pick sixes, getting burnt as well, trying to jump routes and get double moved on? Or will he be a more fine-tuned, polished version of his father and see him become an all-pro consistently and maybe even future Hall of Famer? We have to wait and see. The jury is out. All right, let's go ahead and talk about our losers right quick. Losers. Nobody wants to talk about the losers, right?
The losers.
All right, well, as you can see, I have my losers up top and the Ish's loser on the bottom. Looks like we can agree on one of the losers.
Oh, I think everybody can agree on that loser.
Let's go ahead. I'll let you start first on that one.
Bro, they are a loser. Let me just say, I don't want it to seem like we are bashing repeatedly on the Texans.
I was going to say this, but I appreciate you for starting that off like that.
But the Texans are just so bad. They're so bad. And across the board, they're a bad team. They're a bad organization. They got a bad owner. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's just bad, okay? Let's talk about the number one pick. You don't get to draft until round 3, pick 3. You have so many needs on this team on the defensive side of the ball. You need defensive lineman. You need safety. You need linebacker. You need corner. And you decide with your first pick, where in a draft, you only have 5 picks to go with the quarterback. But hold on, let's wait, because I would argue with the Desean Watson situation, quarterback is a need for you. To me, what is the most upsetting about that pick is that you chose a guy, whether or not his tape looks good in spots, that doesn't matter to me. He only has 11 games. 11 games. You didn't even go with somebody who is a proven winner for years. You went with somebody who only has 11 games. That's what you choose to do with one of your 5 picks when you have so many holes. Then you follow that up with a receiver. So you don't address defense, which is your biggest need, and then you follow up with a receiver? Like, come on. This is the most upsetting to me, because while I would say receiver is a need also, I don't think quarterback is an immediate need. I think, yes, you need a quarterback in the future, but I would have been fine if they didn't pick a quarterback in this draft. They said
just roll with Tyrod Taylor for this year.
And then you said in free agency, we'll get one, or we'll get one in the draft next year, right? I would have been fine with that. Receiver, if you had picked a receiver with your first pick in the draft, I probably wouldn't have been as hot on you, because I feel like, yes, receiver is needed, and Will Fuller leaving is a big hit, because you only got Brandon Cooks. Randall Cobb, who is old, is a slot guy. Old. So you definitely needed another playmaker there, right? But for me, what makes this pick all the more egregious is that you could have got, if you had chosen a receiver with your first pick in the 3rd round, your first pick of your draft, you could have got Diami Brown from North Carolina. He was on the board. Instead, you went with David Mills, and then you follow up and you're like, okay, now we're going to get a receiver, and you go get Nico Collins, which it's not a slight against Nico Collins, but I just don't feel like at that spot, that's what you needed to do. You needed to go address the defensive side of the ball. Like this draft to me, then you got a tight end. Why? In the 5th round, that's not even a huge need for you. So your first 3 picks, when you needed all these defensive players, you went offense, and one of them was a tight end. I don't want it to seem like we are just picking on the Texans, but I can't stress enough how bad this organization is. And then, I didn't even get to my favorite part. So then my man Casario gets in front of the media to address why they went with David Mills, because everybody in Houston, everybody across the nation is looking at the Texans like, And your answer for why you decided to draft him, not because, he's a special player. His interview, man, we really loved how he interviewed. Well, it's about bringing in competition across the board, and that's what we want to do. You mean to tell me your answer to the city of Houston, to anybody that supports the Houston Texans, about why you spent one of your 5 picks, when you only have 5 picks in the draft, on a quarterback that only has 11 games under his belt, is that you want to bring competition in across the board? You would have me believe that he's competing for the starting job this year? He's going to push Tyrod Taylor, Ryan Finley, he's going to push those guys to be the starter for the Houston Texans? Go ahead, X, because I'm done with them. I don't even want to talk about them on the show. The team in Houston, I'm done with y'all. I don't want to talk about y'all anymore on this show. Like, even when we go forward, the whole season, I'm not referring to the team in Houston anymore. The team in Houston.
So we have the team in Houston. We have the Washington football team. We have the Oilers, as you'd like to call the Tennessee Titans.
At least Washington's team is a football team. The team in Houston, I'm not sure what they are. They're like a club or something.
All righty then. As you can hear it again on X Talking Ish, your boy Ish is hot fire for the team in Houston. No football attachment on there. Let's go ahead and get to the comments right quick. My boy Lee tuning in. As always, we appreciate that. He said, I feel so bad for every player that's getting sent there to fail. It's tough for some of those boys. They should have took a value player and let Tyrod run the show. Got anything?
It's perplexing what is going on in this city, man. And it's so sad because you can't even root for your hometown team when they over here doing this nonsense. The team in Houston needs to be like the NFL need to take them away and give a team to some other city. Take the team away from McNair, please. We don't even want the team anymore. Like, take them away. Send them somewhere else. You can give a team to Mexico for all I care. Like, send them. Matter of fact, yes, please send them down to Mexico City.
Have our first international team.
San Antonio, y'all want them? Please, for free. You can have them.
For free. Alrighty then. Let me go ahead and wrap up my losers right quick so we can move on to our next couple of topics of the night. Of course, as you can see, besides the Texans, I have the Rams and Seattle. And the reason why the Rams, Texans, Seattle are my losers because they actually have a common theme to all three of those teams, and that is because they did not have a first-round draft pick in this draft. And the reason why I feel like that was so crucial is because if you look at that talent that came out of that first round, this might be one of them drafts where we look back on the next 5 years and we say, hey, this guy was an all-pro. This guy was this was a Super Bowl winner. This guy contributed in this type of way for a number of years on this team. This could really be a very special draft. And for these three teams not to be able to cash in on that, and of course, a team like the Texans that did not have a pick into the third round and then use it on a quarterback when you already addressed that need during free agency was just kind of weird to watch. Knowing that I got my phone blown up and people that are Texan fans saying that was a good pick, which was kind of weird. I'm so serious, I could show you my phone. And also had people saying that the wide receiver pick, and again, this was even coming from my school, like my favorite school, Michigan. Nico Collins is not that great of a wide receiver. He's okay, he's good, but for him to go to the Texans, he's not going to make that much of a difference. So, with that being said, like I said, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. Let's move on to the Rams, Seattle, NFC West. We know how difficult that division is over there, guys. Come on, Rams and Seattle. You know how difficult that division is. I hope y'all are ready. Hope y'all got y'all rain boots strapped and ready to go when you go to Arizona. I know it ain't going to be that much rain in Arizona, but they coming. They coming.
Oh, they're coming.
I'm just saying the NFC West is going to be something crazy, and I feel like the Rams, they won't have a first-round draft pick until 2024. That's something that the Rams going to have to figure out moving forward as well, too, is how they're going to be able to get the most of their value draft picks later on in the draft. That is what I'm getting at.
Because Stafford pans out,
Exactly. Just because a team doesn't have a first round draft pick does not mean that their draft is unsuccessful. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm getting at because first round draft, everybody wants a first round draft pick. No matter who you are, you want a first round draft pick. But to really maximize on the NFL draft, you want to make sure that you get the most value out of your picks after round 3. That is what it's about. I just didn't see that from the Rams nor Seattle. And moving forward, especially with a quarterback like Russell Wilson that's already having little problems, having some problems with management in Seattle in the first place, will this be something moving forward next season that we could really see Russ maybe leaving Seattle, kind of like Aaron Rodgers, what we got going on in Green Bay? So we'll talk about that very shortly. But before we do, again, we're going to finish up on this draft because, again, I know that everybody's tired of talking about the draft. But we want to talk about one more thing before the draft is over with, and something that Deion Sanders, head coach of Jackson State University, had a very rant-like type of statement to make on Instagram when it comes to his thoughts on all of the draftees that got drafted, why there were no HBCU football players that were not drafted, because he said that he felt like there were players of the HBCU caliber that were worthy enough to be able to be drafted. The first person that actually sent me that picture was actually a former HBCU football player and is a Canadian Football Hall of Famer. I'm not gonna put his name out here because I want to put him on the show sooner rather than later. And I asked him, did he agree with Deon? He said, hell yeah, I do. So with that being said, Ish, how do you feel about the statement that Deon put out there about HBCU football players that didn't get drafted, and also, of course, about the HBCU combine that we recently attended about 3 weeks ago?
So let me say this. When this first happened, I kind of thought, man, Deon, you doing a lot of talking, but this was a weird year. Scouting was different. There was no fall season. Yeah, you had a spring season. Yeah, we had the combine. But I'm thinking to myself, like, I could get them a pass, right? Then I started looking into some of the things, some of the numbers, right? You had 8 total players, 8 non-FBS players drafted this year. 5 of them from FCS, 2 of them from Division 2, and 1 from Division 3. And I was thinking to myself, okay, it's interesting to me that none of them happen to come from an HBCU, but I'm not even going to look into that. Then I saw a story that was put out that was supposed to be like a funny or heartwarming or whatever kind of story, right? Where I saw that the Carolina Panthers selected a long snapper. And then I kind of thought to myself, and I was like, you mean to tell me? I remember during Senior Bowl week, the guard from Grambling was getting, hyped up. People were saying, like, man, this guy looks really good, this and that. You mean to tell me, Carolina Panthers, you couldn't take like one of those players even and as a value pick? You picked up a long snapper in the draft? That's when I kind of felt a certain type of way about that. And maybe it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed as a culture thing in the NFL, because obviously there appears to be no love for the levels below FCS, so much so that you're drafting these third string, fourth string people who barely played anything. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Something needs to happen. There needs to be a discussion because it's not just HBCU players that I feel like got slighted. I feel like a lot of FCS players in general, a lot of D2 players in general got slighted. There are some really good players at these lower levels that play a lot of football and do really well against the competition that they have to face. I understand we like to talk about like, oh, this level of football and the speed of the game and all of this. But hey, you can only play who you're put up against. And when you put up numbers against the people who you're put up against, you deserve a shot of just a look, something, a fair shot at maybe I might be at a D2, but there might be a circumstance that put me there that I wasn't able to go to a D1, to an FBS school or an FCS school. Maybe I'm at an FCS school and there were circumstances that didn't allow me to go to an FBS school. But that doesn't mean I'm less of a player. And that's just what really ate at me as I was really thinking about it. I was like, man, some of these players that got drafted, there's no disrespect to them. And I'm glad that they get the opportunity to continue to play the game that they love. But if you didn't get the kind of playing time that some of these guys got at a level lower than you that were balling out, I think that you should have to earn your spot just like they have to earn their spot. And you should get, like I said, the long snapper was what really got it for me. The long snapper is what got it for me. When you got a long snapper getting picked and you got players out here that really bust their butt out there and gave it their all and worked hard, and the only reason why they didn't get a look is because they went to an FCS school or HBCU, that's sad, man. The NFL likes to talk about all this moving forward and how they're doing all these things, but it doesn't appear like that's actually happening. I'm gonna step off my soapbox now.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I appreciate everything that you're saying because everything you're saying is facts. It's very unfortunate, and it's very easy to say, hey, we're calling this out, and y'all need to make a change. But unfortunately, we do not control the things at B. So for the guys that they didn't get picked up either through the draft or free agency, I just hope if you are listening, just make sure that you guys keep on working and keep on not giving up on the dream, because you just never know when the opportunity is going to come knocking at your door. So you want to, of course, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Before I get in my little soliloquy, is get into the comments right quick from Lee. He says, Mike Greenberg actually talked about this yesterday. The number of backup players and third stringers who barely took any snaps to get drafted was incredible. Like, not even one of these boys who balled out for HBCU teams. Shaking my head. So, yes, it was unfortunate that some of the guys, and of course, if you have been tuning into X Talking Ish over the last month, you do know that we went to Birmingham, Alabama to be able to cover the HBCU Combine, the first annual HBCU Combine in Birmingham, Alabama. And we were able to interview a couple of players that stood out during their Combine. And not just that, we were also able to learn about one of the players that broke a pretty decent 40 record, and it spread like wildfire because while I was in Alabama, Ish was in Houston, and he found out about it within 5 minutes. So it's not like people didn't know about it, because if this was a 4.28 in the NFL Combine, the whole world would have heard about it. Am I wrong? Okay.
Not at all.
Okay, so you can't tell me that there wasn't players.
And it was laser time. Before anybody says anything, it was a laser time thing. So it's not like they were doing stopwatch. Like, this was a laser time 40. So this is a legit 40 time, the same as if you were in Indy.
Yes. So, everything was legit. And for him to run that 40, we both talked about it. I mean, and who we're speaking of is Jimmy Robinson, the second from Bethune-Cookman. We both said to ourselves that he's going to at least get a look, right? I mean, you can't coach speed. You can coach the other things, but you can't coach a 4.28 40. And, as long as you can maybe get him the ball, maybe it could be a return specialist for somebody, right? And it seems like so far at the moment, he hasn't even gotten a free agency look. And I appreciate Lee for this comment, because I'm actually about to get into this. Lee asks, has there been any HBCU undrafted free agents signed yet? Seen tons of signings lately. Yes, so there have actually been a couple of free agent signings. Tackle David Moore signed with Carolina Panthers.
That's the one I was talking about, David Moore.
Tackle Calvin Ashley signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Defensive back Mac McCain III signed with the Denver Broncos. And also just recently, one of the players that we actually interviewed, Kion Smith, lineman, from Fayetteville State, actually signed with the Atlanta Falcons. So hopefully he's able to get an opportunity with the Atlanta Falcons. Happy for him, and happy for everybody else that is getting an opportunity. And hopefully, again, some of the guys that we interviewed are still able to get opportunities, because guess what? Just because you didn't get picked up right now, free agency right now, still does not mean that you won't be brought in for practice squad, won't bring in for during the season ish. You know how that goes during training camp, during the season, players get hurt, you can still get brought in. So again, don't give up on your dream. If you have to go play arena right now, if you have to go play Canada, whatever it is, just continue to play. You never know when you get your next opportunity. So I don't think this is you just give up, because dang, we didn't get drafted. This is one of those things where, hey, it's just another hurdle that unfortunately some of these HBCU players have had to deal with in the first place, right? So just another hurdle, a speed bump, roadblock, whatever you want to call it, that you have to get through, and hopefully these guys can get through it, and it just adds on to their story when they do finally make it to the NFL.
I agree.
All right. Speaking of guys that actually have a crazy story of where they at right now, Aaron Rodgers. We do remember him. This guy started off at a JUCO and went to Cal, and now, of course, is that guy for the Green Bay Packers. But at the moment, he does not want to be that guy anymore, because I think he feels like the Green Bay Packers do not value him the same way that everybody else in Green Bay as fans-wise value Aaron Rodgers. And with that being said, we all saw the type of season Aaron Rodgers had last year. I didn't see any slump. I didn't see no decline. I didn't see anything that showed me that Aaron Rodgers needed a heir apparent. And maybe I might be tripping. So, with that being said, it seems like Aaron Rodgers might be calling the Packers bluff and telling the Packers, hey, if you don't trade me, I'll retire. And it seems like we're having the old school Mexican standoff right now and seeing who's going to draw their weapons first. So, with that being said, simple question. Will Aaron Rodgers be Packers starter week 1? What you got for me, Ish?
I think so. I think they're going to figure something out. I think he's going to be there. I know that he's threatening to retire. I just don't know. I honestly, I believe that if he wanted to, if he really in his heart of hearts is ready to retire, he's going to retire. He has no reason to come back. He doesn't have to come back. He don't need the money. He can go host Jeopardy and be just fine.
Jeopardy is serious, okay?
I'm just saying, he can go do that if he wants to. He did a pretty good job there. So yeah, he could go do that instead of but I think he still wants to play. I still think that they'll figure something out. They'll work it out. I see him there. I don't see him going anywhere. I mean, who are you trading him to? San Francisco, maybe. Houston, I don't know if the Desean Watson thing makes it really hard.
I'm about to go ahead and jump in there I'm about to jump on there because you just said who you think gonna get traded, and I just talked about that a couple of segments ago. There are a couple of teams out there that they were doing trade scenarios earlier today. I watched on ESPN, and a couple of teams do make sense. The Miami Dolphins. You trade Tua plus a couple other picks and whatnot for Aaron Rodgers. You make that exchange. Maybe, excuse me, I don't think it's going to be the Texans, but maybe the Texans. Again, I doubt it. I'm going to go ahead and just scratch that. I don't think that's going to happen. But another sleeper team, the sleeper team would be the Cleveland Browns. You give up Baker Mayfield and whatever else you need to give up in Cleveland for Aaron Rodgers. And we just said about Cleveland's defense, right? If Cleveland's defense is what it is, Aaron Rodgers goes to that Cleveland's offense.
If Aaron Rodgers goes to the Cleveland Browns, they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Could maybe
they will win the Super Bowl if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Cleveland Browns, and that's coming from Chiefs fan. I'll say right now they're going to win the Super Bowl. That's just me. I know that may rub some people the wrong way. They may disagree. I just think with that defense, you put Aaron Rodgers on that offense, even with OBJ, they're going to figure something out.
Casey also says if he retires, he's got to give back $23 million. That's still a lot. He also says it's the Broncos or Raiders, and I'm happy he brings up the Raiders because that's another team that I was going to throw out. I did talk about that a couple of days ago.
You did talk about that, but
on my page, I feel like the Raiders is something that really could happen with Vegas. I think that's something that could happen if they didn't have Derek Carr. That's what's holding everything back. That is honestly what's holding everything back. Derek Carr.
Yeah, I just don't see the package the Raiders could put together to make it. Like, I don't want Derek Carr. If I'm Green Bay, but there has been talks that Green Bay is happy with Jordan Love, and they are ready to move forward with him. So maybe you take Derek Carr as part of the package, and then you offload Derek Carr, or you figure something out with another trade or something. But it would have to be a really good package with Derek Carr in order for that to work out. And the Denver one, I don't want Teddy Bridgewater. I don't want him either. So you're going to have to put this package together.
That's what I was going to get at. And we all, I'm assuming we're all in agreement that if you are the Packers, you have to send them to the AFC, correct? You can't keep them in the NFC.
I don't think. Well, he wants to go to a contender, so yeah, you're gonna have to send him to the AFC. You're not going. I don't even know who in the NFC they could, like Minnesota. Minnesota. Really? If you want to, you can send them to Minnesota, but that's never gonna happen. So. Yeah. I mean, a guy named Brett Favre went to Minnesota one time.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because that's what I was going to bring up when it comes to, besides him being a Packers quarterback for the last 16 seasons, him, Brett Favre, and Bart Starr have all played for the Packers for 16 seasons. Nobody played for a 17th. Besides that, we just saw Tom Brady do it. We saw Peyton Manning do it. We saw Brett Favre. We've seen Joe Montana. We have quarterbacks. We expect to see them in this uniform for forever until they move on to another team. Aaron Rodgers will not be a Green Bay Packer come week 1 of this NFL season. He will be with another team. I do not know yet. But the way sports have worked out this last just 10 years alone, from LeBron to Tom Brady to whoever, sports is not given. Sports is not guaranteed. We are not guaranteed to see certain players in jerseys forever. And I would not be surprised at all if Aaron Rodgers is not wearing a Packers jersey this upcoming season. Team to be determined. But for right now, Aaron Rodgers will not be wearing a Green Bay Packers
ESPN jersey. Has Tennessee as one of the teams they could trade for him.
Now, you know what? I've actually said that. I've said that I will give up Tannehill in a heartbeat for Aaron Rodgers. And if anybody that is a Titans fan said no, just please move. Just don't even talk to me, because if you're keeping Tannehill for Aaron Rodgers, I will dog slap you. I will dog slap you in your face. All right, I can't say what I want to say. We're on hot mic right now.
Ooh, the New York Giants.
I was gonna see. It's funny you bring that up because I was gonna bring up the Giants, but the question for me is Daniel Jones. No, Daniel.
The Washington football team.
That was another team, but again, NFC. Do you keep them in your same division?
Oh,
that's the questions. Do you keep them in the same division, or do you? I'm sorry, the same conference, or do you get them out of the conference and take them and let them go to the AFC?
Okay, so this Denver package that ESPN has, real quick, I had to look this up. This is an interesting package. Let me just talk about what they have Denver sending. They have Denver sending Patrick Surtain II, Tim Patrick, Drew Lock, the 2022 first round and the 2023 first round, and Denver would get Aaron Rodgers and Eric Stokes, the cornerback from Green Bay. I mean, if Denver's giving that up, then I still wouldn't want it. But no. If they are happy with Jordan Love in the organization, then yeah, I'll take that for Aaron Rodgers, who doesn't want to be there.
I mean, to be honest with you, I just don't trust Green Bay's organization right now. Like, you really about to, like, okay. I guess this is part 2 of this. I'm gonna say this is Aaron Rodgers' life coming full circle, because when he was Jordan Love when he first came in behind Brett Favre, and everybody's like, why would you give up Brett Favre? He's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Who's the Aaron Rodgers kid, right? Like, who do you think he is? And we saw who Aaron Rodgers has been, right? I don't think Jordan. I mean, we think Jordan Love can't be as good as Aaron Rodgers, right? There's no way he's going to be better than Aaron Rodgers, but maybe they know something.
Maybe they know something we don't know. Yeah, maybe they saw some things in practice that they feel good about, and
but it's no way though, right? I mean, Jordan Love, really?
I mean, hey,
they really think the Packers are going to call Aaron Rodgers bluff?
I think that, yeah. Man, okay. Hey, if Denver gives the package that I just read off, yeah, I'm trading them.
Casey says Von Miller, maybe Lock, and a couple of picks.
Yeah, Surtain, Brad. If they get Surtain, and Lock and 2 first-round picks, oh yeah. That's if that package is what your Denver is offering, Green Bay, go ahead, take that one. You like Jordan Love? Go ahead, take that one, man. Aaron, go ahead and enjoy it with John Elway in Mile High.
Lee says, as an organization with a QB who's about to be 39, do you take a massive package with a lot of first rounders, though, even though Rodgers still has a few incredible years left?
Yes, Sean, like I just said, Lee, we taking it. We want it. Come on. If they are offering those 2 first-round picks, Andrew Lock, and they're offering Surtain. Surtain's the one that gets it for me. Surtain and the 2 first-round picks might just be enough for me. I don't necessarily need Drew Lock if I got my boy Jordan Love, but I guess he needs a backup. So Drew, go ahead. You can ride the bench. You can show him how you put your bag on the bench, and there you go.
All right. He says agreed. Well, we've talked about this draft for the last 4 weeks. We talked about how crazy it was going to be, how much movement it was going to create amongst the NFL, how much chaos it has ensued. I mean, the domino effect. I mean, it has been crazy. We have to wait, of course, to see the next 5 years what comes of this, of the draft. We're going to wait and see what happened with the Minnesota Vikings with their quarterback situation. We're going to see how if the Ravens really found the right pieces to help Lamar moving forward. We're going to see if the not having the draft picks really going to hurt the Texans moving forward to continue to build a franchise.
The team in Houston got their franchise quarterback. All's good in Houston. They got their franchise quarterback. They got him with the number one receiver who is better than DeAndre Hopkins. The team in Houston, man, they know what they're doing here. They're building a winner.
All right. As you can hear, everybody, Ish is being very, very serious about the topic at hand.
Yeah, man, the team in Houston, the Super Bowl.
All righty then. Since we live in Houston, I'm expecting not to hear any of that this year, but most likely we will still be hearing that. So probably worse than the Cowboys fans, but that's another story for another day. All righty then. We appreciate y'all as always tuning in to X Talking Ish every Tuesday night, 9:00 on Facebook, YouTube. Please make sure you tune in again next week on X Talking Ish. See y'all next time.